Hello all, I hope you guys can see me. So this is going to be a lot more relaxed. Can everybody, I want to be able to see everybody. Okay, allow to talk.
Can you hear me, Scott?
Yep, now I can.
Okay, so for some reason, it's not giving me the option to turn on my camera.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. No, that's fine. That is
just... I even comb my hair for this and everything.
Nice. Well, hey, I'm real excited about this. Just so that you guys know, I'm not usually the one that's the tech savvy with Zoom doing webinars and stuff. I am the founder of Woje, and what I wanted to do is give you guys the kind of just the raw information to see how to move forward as quick as possible from where you're at with whatever sell you're doing, whatever product or service, and move you through how to finance them. What's the strategy of doing it properly so that you're not stressing about am I going to go in the hole because I'm financing? You know what I mean? So we're going to go over the nuts and bolts. So you need to pick a product or service that you have that you're thinking, I want to finance it. It doesn't matter if it is a high profit margin or low profit margin on it. We're going to explain different styles of financing so that you can see it. And I want you to also understand this is very, very simple. Most people think that financing is very, very difficult. It is not. It's actually quite simple to do. And then with Woje, we've actually made it so that we've streamlined the hard part. You don't have to worry about what do I do if this happens or that happens. The contract terms within it follows the system, so everything takes very, very little time to do. So what I'm going to do is, and like I said, bear with me. If I'm making mistakes on how to set this up, I'll blame it on my team.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
Okay, good. Good. Okay, so really quick, I'm going to run through this as quick as possible because I also want to get into question and answer. I want everybody to feel comfortable in sharing the questions that they have, and because other people will have those questions later, I'm sure, and I'll answer them all. So first off, most of you, I hope, know me. I founded this company. I've been doing this process for 22, almost 23 years, and it came out of desperation because I was losing so much money to, merchant services, to, not knowing how to finance my customers. So I was losing jobs that way, and then collections. Those are the three nightmares. So all I did is I figured out how to get around it. And for some reason, oh, there we go. Okay, so here we go. So the purpose of Woje is we want to help you to be able to keep all the money that you can. That's our goal. So all small businesses, all local businesses, we want them to be able to keep as much of the merchant fees as they can. We want them to capture the interest that credit cards are making off of them. We want them to be able to not have to deal with collections, or if they're moving into collections, turn potential collections into seriously diehard fans, customers that turn into clients that stay forever. So how do we do it? We do it through those specific things, or we do it through speeding up the amount of profit that you can make. One of those, the biggest way is you're able to sell more because you're financing. The other way is to reduce the dependency, which is the dependency you have on merchant services, on the credit card companies, and on any kind of collections, and also taxation, because Woje actually can make it so that you pay less in taxes so that you're able to build your business faster. So the first thing, like I said, is finance. Speeding up your profit is all finance. I usually can upsell anywhere between, I've upsold stuff because I was financing anywhere from 25% to 300%, all from financing. In fact, I've even done stuff that's even higher than that and been able to get more profit from a sale just because their budget only allowed so much right now, but I knew that they needed more. And so I was able to finance them through that. But I did it according to how I needed to do it in order to be able to stay safe. The next thing is reduce dependency. Like I said, merchant services, credit cards, collection agencies. If you knew how much money credit cards are making off of your customers, you would die. During COVID, Visa, MasterCard, Discover made $800 million in interest. That is all interest from customers off of small businesses. It's all money that you guys can capture. And like I said, the last thing is taxation. Taxation is something that every sale, as you profit through a year, at the end of the year, some of you have to pay taxes. Well, using finance as a tool, that's how big businesses grow so fast without having to pay so much in federal tax and state tax, is because they're using this process of financing and creating paper assets. So I'm going to give you a case study, okay? And I love this. So case study. What we're going to do is we're going to do standard sales and then doing it through Woje. And this is actual numbers, okay? So first off, had financing not been involved, total sales would have been 455,000. With the ability to finance and that process of upselling, it ended up being 632,000. The merchant fees, the standard way, had it been through merchant processing, the regular way of doing it, it would have been $15,000. Now, compared to the 445,000, you're looking at saying, okay, well, 15,000, it's a necessary evil. Well, it actually isn't, because the actual cost of fees was actually $897 for the larger amount of 632,000. Next, interest. The regular way, it's zero, no profit, because it was all given away. Sometimes it creates a negative, especially when you're trying to use like dentists, orthodontists that use care credit. Care credit actually takes a portion of the 445,000 along with all the interest. With using Woje, 27,000 plus in interest. Collections, about $7,000 had it been the normal way. Zero collections. Oh, sorry. This number is wrong. It should have been 7,000. 7,000 is it, but in Woje it's zero. Now, the reason why I'm showing you these is because this is actually me. This is actually one of my companies, my sign company. And I just wanted to show you this to show you exactly what's possible. This is on banners. This is on, small stickers. This was on electrical signs. But all of this stuff, think about it, with financing, I can't take a Lolo's barbecue sign and if they don't pay, repo it and then try and sell it to someone else. It's impossible. So the stakes, the risk is high supposedly, but using Woje, it actually lowered that. So if you look at this number down below, that is the total amount of difference in the profit that I made that I would have lost had I not done this process. Now, this is the really interesting part of it, is that's how much time it takes per month to do the process. So I'm just kind of explaining how simple it is to do, and it doesn't take a lot of time to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go right into the numbers. How do you do financing? So what I want you to do is I want you to think of your product or your service that you want to finance. It needs to be $300 or more, roughly. I've done stuff that's less, 180, I think is the lowest I've gone, but usually it's $300 or more. I've done everything from, I think, 180 up to, $30,000 or $42,000. So it just depends. So the sell, you figure out what's the sell price. So let's look at a painter, for example. A painter has paint, they have tape, you know, that sort of thing. So let's say that the job is a $5,000 job. They're doing a room or two in someone's house. What they're going to do is they're going to divide that job up into material, labor, profit. Okay. That process makes it so that you can figure out the numbers that you need to be for your financing. The next thing that you do is you figure out what style of financing. Then from there, you're going to figure out the actual numbers that you're going to do on the contract. So we're going to go over these three things in order for you to be able to figure it out. So if you have a piece of paper and pencil right now, you'll be able to have your numbers by the time we're done that you want to plug in for financing. So first off, I want to let you know you need to start small. If you're going to do this process, you do not finance everybody. I still do not finance everybody. I pick from the clients that I have, and those are the ones that I'm like, okay, I can finance this job or that job. I'm also looking at my own profit coming in. So as profit comes in, I'm doing regular sales. A job will come along and I'm like, you know what? I have plenty of profit now. I'm going to turn that one into a finance. I talk to them and say, hey, we can put you on monthly payments. We can offer you more and set it up. So you start out small, maybe 5% of your business, maybe even 0.5% of your business. Just start out small so that you can see that you got profit coming in, because cash flow is king. So, and you divide it between material, labor, and profit. So price equals material, labor, profit. Material is raw material. It's the cost of goods. It's the cost of shipping. It might be also like if you have to outsource a portion of the job. So you want to calculate it according to that. You don't calculate it according to, hey, I've got rent, I've got, you know, overhead, I've got, you know, all of the, you know, marketing, payroll, none of that. It's just raw material. The reason why is because if you have let's say that you have $1,000 in your account and your material cost is $100 on each sell. That means that you can only do 10 sales before you're in the hole. So you want to, and we're going to talk about how to get around that, but you want to look at just that raw material cost. And then we're going to figure out on top of that, how to section it out to make sure that you're always staying in the black. So raw material cost. Hopefully you guys are going through the numbers at this time. I'm going to go quick so that we can get to question and answer. Second thing is labor. That's you, might be employees, might be contractors. That contract labor can also be considered part of your raw material cost, meaning that it has to be paid up front. On employees and yourself, you can actually do it to where sometimes you'll look at it and say, okay, this is my material, or this is my labor cost, and it has to be, it's going to be done by an employee. So I need to make sure that I'm covering that cost as well. Or it might be something to where you're doing the work. So you're going to be able to do less of a down payment or a payment at completion on your contract. And we'll explain that in just a bit. The last, whatever's left over is your profit. So on the painting, we said it was a $5,000. Let's say it's a $5,000 job. The paint is going to cost him $500. The tape and everything is going to cost him another $500, let's say, plus. So he's got $1,000 of the $5,000 that he has to get. He needs that money up front in order to be able to do the job. Then let's say labor is another $1,000. He's going to have someone help him tape everything. So because of it, that means he's going to make $3,000 in profit. Now he can take that $3,000 and he can turn it into an interest-bearing account. If he's doing the labor, he can turn a portion of it, if not all of it, into an interest-bearing account as well. So you're always looking at your numbers. At the same time, you're looking at what debt do I have, or what bills do I have to cover as these jobs come in, because you need to make sure that you're also covering that extra in your regular sales, not your finance. So your finance is your growth, your growth for creating a base. So for example, when COVID hit, most companies were struggling. I was not. The reason why is because I had base coming in. I had these monthly payments coming in to cover that base. So that's what you want to do with setting up financing. So number one rule, he or she who makes the rules gets the gold. If you look at how banks run, how credit cards run, how everybody that's in the financial world run, they control it. They decide the interest rate. They decide the monthly payments. They decide everything. And you have to either do it or not. And that makes it nice when you are in that realm. I will finance specific people. I will decide the financing. If they decide against the financing, it's a cash sell. It has to be done the way I structure it. Otherwise, I won't finance. It's just like a bank. Walk into a bank and say, hey, I want a car loan. And they hand you a piece of paper and say, I don't want to sign that. I don't want to do it that way. I want you to change it. They're going to say goodbye. It's the same thing. So you get to decide the rules that your financing is done, and we're going to help you with those rules to make it profitable. So every finance sale has specific rules. The first one is a portion down. Notice we talked about material, labor, profit. This is where the portion down comes from.
With the material and labor.
Pardon?
You want to get at least the material and labor as a down payment.
At least the material and labor, unless you're doing the job yourself. If you're doing the job yourself, sometimes you'll dump into the labor. You know what I mean? You'll cut it back. So for example, on the painter, he might do $1,000 down, $1,000 at completion. So a completion payment, or $1,500 down and $500 at completion. He might do $2,000 down and $100 at completion. Do you see what I mean? So you can decide on how you want to base that down payment. Now, this is the starting point. This is the starting point of it. Now, like for me, I have contracts coming in. Well, the contracts are coming in, bringing in passive income. That passive income is not based on any material, labor, and profit anymore. It's all monthly payments coming in. So now I can take a portion of that and put it towards material on another job or labor on another job. So now I can cut the amount down that's needed and section it out differently. Third rule, auto withdrawn monthly payments. If someone does not allow auto withdrawal, then I don't do it. You know what I mean? I'm the bank. I get to decide. It's a cash sell if they're not willing to do that process. Same thing with the bank. If a bank says you can do this loan, but it has to be the monthly payment has to be auto withdrawn from your bank account, you do it. Otherwise, you don't get it. So you want to work the exact same way. Fourth, always charge interest, but the interest needs to be ethical. And we're going to show you that too. The last thing is signature, signature, signature on all your contracts, on all your invoices or whatever. So I'll give you an example. If you have an invoice right now, if you're in Utah and you have an invoice, and on that invoice, it says that if someone doesn't pay, they have to pay 1.5% per month or 18% until it's paid. If they don't sign that contract, if they don't sign that invoice, that is actually illegal in the state of Utah. Most people don't know that. The max you can do in Utah, according to the usury laws, is 10% without a signature. So just a warning, that if you have that on your invoice, you've got to make sure that they sign that invoice. Okay, next. The 4 base styles of financing. So we've talked about the numbers. You're going to do down payment, payment at completion, minimum monthly payments with interest. So there's 4 different styles of financing, and we're going to go through those 4, and that'll depend on your product or service. So some of you right now are thinking, man, my material cost is high, my my labor is high. I only have 10% or 20% that I can finance. Don't worry about it. We're going to show you a base style that you can work whatever numbers you need to in order to make it work. And this is also the styles that you will use to market or sell the financing to your clients. So the first one is account rollover, which is actually no financing, which sounds really strange. What it is if someone doesn't want to finance, okay? If a business does not want to finance, you don't want to finance, you still want this a part of your contract. And the reason why is this. Let's say that you're half down, half on completion. And let's say it's $3,000 and $3,000. So you get your $3,000 down, or we'll use the painter again. He gets $2,500 down. He does the job. $2,500 is supposed to be coming to him. He's waiting. It's not getting paid. Well, let's say that, and within our system, in the contract terms that you receive, that you're having them sign, you get to decide. If they don't pay within X amount of time, you have the right to auto withdraw the amount from their bank account. They're signing the contract saying that they are going to pay within X number of days, the completion payment, or let's say 5 days from that date, you have the right to auto withdraw it from their bank account. So let's say that he auto withdraws it and it bounces, or let's say that they pay him and it bounces. Account rollover is automatically set in place, which means that you have the right, and within the system, it automatically asks you, do you want to change this into a closed line of credit, minimum monthly payments with interest, automatic withdrawal? You hit a button, now it's automatically going to start financing. So let's say it bounced. He can at that point try and auto withdraw it again at the $2,500, or he can convert it over into a line of credit. And this is the part that we patented. At that point, let's say it's $200 a month at 9.7% interest, or because it bounced 18% interest. Now what happens is $200 gets auto withdrawn month after month. So now you already know that the higher amount you can't get from them, but you're able to resolve the issue immediately. So can you imagine the phone call with someone like this? You end up calling them and you say, hey, John, you bounced this, your $2,500 payment bounced. You know inside that they're aching, it's stress for them. But imagine the phone call going like this. You don't have to worry about it. According to the contract that you signed, we're rolling you over into a line of credit with us. The minimum monthly automatic withdrawal payment is going to be $200 a month. You don't have to worry about it. If you need any more painting done, give us a call. Done. You see what I mean? Solves all the issues. You're able to work with them immediately, and now you're earning interest on it instead of pushing it out to collections. And you now have a client that's probably going through a hard time at that point, that is now with you long term. They're not going to go anywhere else for painting. They have a line of credit with you. That's how it works. The second way is full. Full is regular financing. Credit cards use full. Service-based business window cleaner. They're doing a home for $600, something like that, inside and out. They might do just $100 a month, which means that they would, $50 a month. Let's say $50 a month. So they'll do $50 down, 50 at completion, minimum monthly payments of 50. So that's normal for services that don't have a lot of product costs. You know what I mean? Like I said, and usually it's when the owner is doing the work. That also works with coaches too. So, but most of the time I try and get people away from that. I would rather you not do that style. I'd rather you get a good down payment, good payment at completion. 50, a lot of companies use 50, half down, half on completion, or 50% down will finance the rest. And your numbers will determine that. Now full and 50, there's a little bit in between, and that is depending on where your material cost and labor is. And that is, let's say that it ends up being 30%. down and 10% at completion, or 25% down and 5% at completion. You get to decide that. And with that, you're just looking, can I afford it? Am I going to get enough up front to be able to cover what's needed so that I can turn the rest into interest-bearing accounts? How many of you, I'm just curious in the chat, just put a Y. How many of you would love to earn 9% in the stock market consistently? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's what's really, really cool about this. So I'll tell you right now, I look at this. I never thought that I would be able to finance my customers, be able to know that I could keep them for life, be able to know that I could earn the interest off of, be able to know that I could give them more product, more service, better service than other people, all from financing, and be able to earn interest on top of it and have them like super happy. It's absolutely awesome. So that's what I'm hoping for you guys. I'm hoping that you guys get the same experience that I have. I hope that you guys surpass anything that I've done. That would be so cool. If any of you reach that point, let me know. I want to talk to you. But seriously, you can do this exact same thing. So the next one is upsell. Now, this is for those people that are very, very nervous or that about financing, but want to try it, or they're at a point where their profit margin is so small. So I'll give you an example of a company that we have on board. We have a granite countertop company. And this granite countertop company is actually the first one that gave us the idea of upsell. And I'll kind of explain the story just really quick. What happened was they invited me out to their manufacturing plant, and I told them, I said, there is no way that you can finance. Your profit margin is just not there. 20% is not enough. You're asking for 80% down. You can't do it. And they said, please just come. You'll probably, we think that you'll figure out a solution. So we got up there, they're showing me the numbers. I'm sitting there in my head going, I can't see it. I can't see it. I want to see it, but I just don't see how you guys can do it. And I go, but you know what? I would love to tour your plant to see how you do everything. So they take me down to the floor. I'm seeing all this massive equipment that, water jets and stuff that are, cutting these big granite sheets. And I walk through with them to their large storage area where they had all these pallets of of granite. And then off in the corner were all these smaller pieces. And I was like, they were just kind of piled up. And I go, what is all of that over there? And they go, oh, that's all remnants. And I go, what's the remnants from? And they said, well, from people that ordered their kitchens. And I went, oh my gosh, you can finance. You can upsell. They've already, think about it. They were doing the outside of the kitchen and the island. They had someone that chose that granite, and they were putting, Formica in the bathrooms. And I was like, oh my gosh, just upsell them on that. You've got the scrap pieces right there to be able to do it. Your guys are installing it. It'll take them how much longer to put in the 2 bathrooms? And they're like, oh, about 10 minutes each. And I was like, that's what you're going to do. You're going to upsell. So upsell is when someone has a budget and you're going to try and find something, because in that sell price, there's profit. And that profit can be turned into the material cost on a larger amount that you can finance. So let's say with the painter, let's say that the painter is putting gold leaf paint down, okay? And it's going to cost him $4,000. So now he's only going to make $1,000 profit. So he ends up getting this $1,000 profit, and he says, you know what? You don't want to gold leaf your cabinets, but I'll paint all of your cabinets for another $7,000, and you don't have to pay anything for it. I'm just going to finance you on it. He's already getting the $1,000 for the material cost to be able to do it. Does that make, I'm hoping that I'm making sense to you guys. So upsell is actually an upsell. It is, they have a budget amount of X amount. That's what they want to spend. So I'll give you an example of when I really did a huge upsell on my sign company. So I had 3 people came in for small stuff, banners, little graphics on the side of a car. They didn't want, they were like just on the door, and total with all of them was $800. Now the material cost for what they wanted, I was 50% of that would have been. So I would have made a total of about $450. But I saw what else they needed. And some of it was just my time. They needed a logo design. They needed, graphic design work besides logos. And I said, you know what? This can be your down payment, but I can do all of this other stuff for you as well. That $900 worth of orders turned into $10,000 in orders. And I still got the $900 I needed to cover my material costs. So that's what I'm talking about. The material that I was using before ended up exploding. We ended up doing, the full side of a small trailer. Do you know what I mean? So the $900 got eaten up in more material cost, but I was out of pocket nothing. My labor turned into interest, my profit turned into interest, and I was able to increase it incredibly. Now, back then, I was hoping that they would run the gauntlet with the financing because I didn't know better, but because of the work that I did for them, the graphic design and stuff, it ended up increasing their business super fast. Most of them paid it off in a year and a half. So I was happy that they were able to do that, but I was sad because I made the contracts longer than that. But at the same time, like I said, they came for me for more work because who was it that was doing the financing? Who did they have an account with? Me. So yeah, that's why I love this stuff. Okay, so now we're getting into the pitfalls. So I hope that you guys have figured out your numbers and have those ready to go. If you are doing Woje, if you're already in Woje and have set up your system, within the dashboard, you're able to click on a button and download your term sheet. On the term sheet, that's what you're gonna put these numbers on your invoice. If you're using like QuickBooks, you put it on the front. You're gonna go down payment. Down payment is gonna be this. Payment at delivery or payment at completion, this. Minimum monthly payment is this. Your interest rate is this. And then also on your contract, and the video tutorials that we have at the very end one shows you exactly where to put it on your contracts. So there's no guesswork as to what you're doing. Then all you do is you have them sign and they give you a deposit, and then you set them up with a Woje account. It's that simple. Okay, so pitfalls. What are the big scary things? What are the things within financing that always cause collections? Well, the first one is if someone's trying to finance something that they have a poor product or service, then of course they're going to end up with collection. But the two that I've seen happen to the majority of people is fear and greed. Those are the two things that cause collections. Where those come from is first with fear, it's larger payments. I'm worried that I'm not going to get paid, so I'm going to finance them. But like, let's say it's the painter again, $5,000. I'm going to do $1,000 down, and I'll finance it for another 4 months at $1,000 a month. Well, for some people, that could be their entire rent. So it makes it more difficult on them. With you having a fear that you're not going to get paid, you end up doing a larger payment, which means that more likely it's going to go into collections because you're hurting your client. You're hurting your customer. The second one is greed, and that comes from high interest rate. I want to make tons of money off of this. Everybody hates credit cards. The main reason why is because of the high interest rate. You give me a card that's willing to say, we're going to do 7.9% and we're going to leave it at 7.9% forever. How many of you would say, okay, I'm using that credit card for everything? I would use that card. I'd use it a different way than you guys probably would, but I would use that card most definitely. But the thing is most of them are, 18, 24, 36%. And because of it, you're looking at it saying they're killing me. Now, what happens with fear and greed to your customers? And this is all based on, we have a psychologist on the team, and we went over all of this. When fear or greed is in the mix, your customer is going to feel that pain. And that pain is going to change to where they think that your product or service is bad to justify not paying. When you relieve this, the chances of collections completely drops. I mean, completely. COVID hit. Okay. Imagine this. I have tons of people that I've financed. COVID hits. I'm the bank. I can decide whatever I want to. I made all the payments to where it wouldn't hurt any of my clientele. COVID hit, and we called all of our clients that we had contracts with, and we basically told them that we were cutting their payments in half. The interest is not increasing. How many of those clients do you think are going to stay with me for life? I even had one client that the industry died, and we told them no payments for the next 6 months. Do you see what I mean? Do I care that I did that? Does it affect me at all? No. The reason why is because I want the client forever. The other thing too is I end up making more interest. I don't need to charge them more in interest. They know that I'm making interest on it, but I'm making an ethical interest. So dealing with resolving these issues, this is where Woje comes into play massively. First one is single digit interest. We tell everybody, keep it in single digits. So the majority of mine are 7.9. On average, I go 6.9. I've been as low as 4.9. I only have one client that is in the double digits. And the reason why is because it's business to business, and they wanted a long-term contract. That contract has been going now for, I think, 7 years, and it'll probably go for another four years, is my guess. I've made tons of interest on it, and they're happy. I'm happy. Their payment is low. So I don't have anything to worry about with it. So you understand that's going to be, 12, it could go longer. Don't know. We'll see. The second thing is payment is more important than length. So when you're thinking of the numbers, you want to think of what is the payment that's best for them. If the payment drag is going to make it longer, then you can make the interest higher, but not double digits. So go as high as 9.7. If they're going to go 5 years, I would still keep it at like 7.9, 8.9% interest. But for you guys starting out, you might go 9.7 or 9.3%. If it's shorter, maybe 3 years, keep it at 7.9, keep it at 7.5, 6.9, because the goal is keeping them for life. They're going to order more because of what you're doing for them. The other thing too is that the payments should not be designed according to 6-month or year marks. You do the payment according to what is best for your client. What makes it out of sight, out of mind? What makes it easy on? If the payment is easy, you make more money. You make more interest. If the payment is short and it hurts them, you're going to have more issues. You're going to have more struggles, more challenge. If the interest is high, same thing. You go into double digits, guaranteed plan on some collections. The last thing is the collection prevention that we showed you, which is that the process of being able to convert someone from a sale to a closed line of credit, or be able to change the contract on the fly. Meaning, just what I said with COVID, I was able to call up our clients and lower the payment that quick. It was done and over with, and I didn't have to stress about it at all. It ended up making us look like heroes to them, and so they're going to stay with us forever. Bounce payments don't matter to me. The reason why is because the patented system within Woje makes it so if someone bounces a payment, it lets you know, and it says, hey, this is their payment. You have the right to lower their payment. Do you want to lower their payment? You're calling them on the phone and you say, hey, is everything okay? No, my wife's in the hospital, or my son was in an accident. You know what? Let's do this. Let's lower your payment to, let's cut your payment in half for the next 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. Will that help you out? Totally changes the dynamic and the relationship between you and your client, which I love. That's part of the reason why it works best with small businesses that know their customers. So this is the main process of everything. What I want to do now, how many want to see the software? Most of you, I think, are in the software, but we've only got about 15 more minutes. Tell me, do you guys want to see the software and get an idea? Okay, so this is actually hooked to the banking network. So auto withdraw is similar to Venmo. The only difference is Venmo, you have to request the money each time. This is set up for you to be able to have your contract and be able to auto withdraw it monthly. There's two entry points. There's the business, and then there's your customers can enter in and see everything dealing with their contracts with you and with anybody else. So it's sending me an SMS. Put that number in, 12649. Okay, so the terms template is right here. If you see this button right here, that is the term template. Once you've set up your dashboard, you'll have access to the terms template. That is the contract. That is all of your pre-collection, collection prevention, your financing, everything is in there, ready to go. All you have to do is plug in your numbers, meaning what is the interest rate that I'm going to charge on this contract? What state am I in? That sort of thing. Once those are put into the contract, then you can print it off, put it on the back of a printed out invoice from QuickBooks or whatever, and you've got your contract. So setting up your contract is very, very simple. If you go into the resource section, the last video is actually where to put your numbers in. So if you look, it's very, very simple. There's not much here. Dashboard is where we're at. Payments is the same as this tab right here. Customers, of course, is customers. Resources is, like I said, the video tutorials. And the videos will go into more detail of what we just talked about. So customers, you have your customer list, and each customer, you add a customer. When you add a customer, it's similar to Venmo. So with Venmo, you need both of you to register, and both of you get micro deposits, and both of you have to go back into Venmo and set up those micro deposits or enter them in so that Venmo knows that you are, that the bank account is set up. Well, with Woje, what we've done is we've made it so that you can do that process. So you can put in their bank information, and then once you put it in, at that point, they're going to get micro deposits, and they can go into their portal and enter those, or you can call them and say, hey, can I just verify? Give me what dollar or little pennies that amounts that you were given, 3 cents or 7 cents, and you're able to put it in and verify their account for them, which is really, really cool. So now if you look, this shows the balance of each client. You can see that there's multiple payment plans with each. You can do multiple payment plans or contracts with individuals. So it's not limited to just one. From there, you can add, like if I click on Bill Ted, I know you guys are probably laughing at these names, Joe and the Volcano. Some of you might know who that movie. Oh, right here, see where it says verify micro deposits. So if this person was a legitimate person, I could verify their account. They would get the micro deposits. I would, instead of waiting for them to enter them, you can call them up, say, what are those two numbers? You click on the verification and you put in those two deposits and you can confirm their account for them. Once they're confirmed, if they're already in the system and confirmed, if you enter them in, it's going to send them an email saying, hey, is this someone that you're going to do a payment plan with? And they just click on it and say yes, and it automatically verifies them. Okay, so adding a payment plan, very, very simple. You're putting in the invoice number. What's the total amount of the invoice on the, like, for example, the painter? Let's say that he was getting a down payment of $5,000. So the total invoice amount is $5,000. The amount that he might be financing is $4,000. Finance start date. When's the payment going to be due per month, on the 1st or the 5th or whatever day? Do you have a signed contract? Yes, I agree with these terms. And then the last thing right here is completion payment applicable for this job? So this is the one you would click on if you wanted to do just a cash sale. If it's a cash sale, you would click on there and it would automatically take you to what's the amount that's going to be at the completion. When do you want to auto withdraw from their account if they don't pay you? What are you going to do if it bounces? What is the interest rate going to be? What's the minimum monthly payment going to be? So you just answer those questions. And then as soon as you do, it sets up the payment plan. Now, here's what's really cool. So that's the system for this. If you look at the dashboard again, the last button is payments. This button here and view all are the exact same buttons. Just like view all customers is the same as that button. So if I click on payment plans or payments, this comes up and it shows the different scenarios that could happen within the contract. So right now, if there were contracts that needed to be submitted, in other words, payments were due, they would show up here. I would click this button right here and I would hit submit all. It would go out, it would auto withdraw from each one of their bank accounts and it would put it into my account. Let's say that some of them bounce. Now, you guys probably are not going to be using late fee. Late fees are mainly for the for investment properties. So we're just going to go over these three right here. So late submission. What if a client calls you up? So these are all the what if scenarios and getting around them. What if someone calls you up and says, hey, you had this $300 payment that's going to come out. Can you hold off for a couple of days? So let's say that you have a client like that and they ask you to. Well, it's going to show up under late submission. Once it does, I can actually, let's say that John Doe here did, I can click that one right there and I can scroll over. Oops, sorry, going fast. And I can manage it. And it pops up and tells me, has a customer contacted you to request a late payment? Yes, they did. Do you want to apply? See, I don't even know what the late fee was. You know what I mean? I don't want to look back at the contract to see. It already tells me it's $39. Do I want to apply that late fee or do I want to choose a different amount? I can choose anywhere from $0 to $39. That's within the contract terms. This person, I'm going to do the 39. I submit it. It's done. It goes out, auto withdraws it from their bank account, deposits it into mine. If for some reason, let's say that you went on a cruise, they don't have internet and you forget to, it's during the time when you would be clicking on payments ready and you'd be submitting them. It's automatically going to roll them over into late submission. And I would do the exact same thing if none of them called me, and I would hit submit now and they would all move over to, they would all go out, auto withdraw and deposit them into my bank account. Now the fun one, insufficient funds. This is the cool one. This is the creme de la creme. This is the patent. This is everything. Okay. So here is the coolest thing about this. It's the social side of financing. So John Doe here, he has a payment of payment amount of $200. This shows you the interest and the principal of that payment. But he bounced a payment of $200 and I need to manage that. I click on manage. It shows me the balance, the total balance of the invoice, the total amount owing, and the current interest rate. Okay, so if you notice, this one says 18%. The reason why is because he's bounced payments before. But I can call him up and I can say, hey, it's John, right? And go, hey, John, hey, you bounced payment. How are you doing? Is everything okay? Dog died. Wife's in the hospital. Kid needs surgery. You know what I mean? Anything like that. Well, you know what? Let's lower your payment to $100 and we'll do it for the next 3 months. How's that? Will that help you out? Or let's say that I'm calling and I can't get a hold of them and it's a $200 payment. Well, I can retry the $200 or I can automatically lower it to these two amounts. So I'm going to lower it to 97 for the next 2 months. Okay, next step. Do I want to apply a bounce payment fee? Yes, I want to charge it now. Well, no. If it's someone that, you know, says, hey, you know what, I'm struggling right now. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm either going to waive it or I'm going to add it to the balance of the contract. Now, the current interest rate is 18%. That's as high as it can go, but I can lower it. Let's say 10%. Okay, let's say that I'm working, I find out that they're struggling. Well, I'm going to lower the interest rate. I hit that. As soon as I hit submit, it automatically changes everything within the contract, within the system. And it's that easy. Doesn't matter if it's a payment, cash down, half down, half on completion. You have to, within the contract, you're able to make those adjustments on the fly to be able to solve those issues. And being able to talk to your customers and help them through a hard time, they end up staying with you. It's the coolest thing when, like with the sign company, when your employees are saying, oh, please have them bounce a payment, because they want to know that they have this client, you know, we'll have this client for life. And they seriously, I have clients that I've had for since I moved back to Utah, 10 years, and they don't order from anybody else. They don't have anybody else bid on it. They go through us. And what do we do every time with them? Do you want to pay cash? Do you want to do half down, half on completion, or do you want to finance it? If you want to finance it, we can apply it to the balance and not change your payment, or we'll create a new contract and make a minimum monthly payment. But that's basically it. It is very, very simple. The amount of time it takes to do all of this is very, very short. You're looking at this, it probably looks, if this was your account, and let's say that you had a bunch in here and you had insufficient funds, this right here, this whole process might take you a total of an hour to talk to him, because you'll want to talk to him. You know what I mean? Hey, how are things going? Are you okay? Oh, my son ended up having an ATV accident. Oh crap, man, is he okay? Was he in the hospital? You know, are you guys all at the hospital? You know what I mean? You get to know them. And once you know them, you're able to work with them. So hope that helps everybody out and kind of explains what Woje is and what we can do for you. Is there any questions? Ooh, we hit 8 o'clock. Is there any question at all? How did you come up with the name Woje? Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so the guys that did Purple Mattress, I met one of the marketing team of Purple Mattress. And what happened is they said, you know what, you really need to test the name. So we built a bunch of websites, all exactly the same, every one of them. And I paid for all of these different domains. And the only difference between all the websites was the font across just the name on the top of the website. And I threw in Woje Money just as a joke. Woje stands for William Oscar Johnson Enterprise, which is my grandfather and great grandfather. And so I just did that as a fluke, and it over doubled all the rest of them within 2 weeks. By the time we hit the third week, they just said, forget about the rest, just use Woje. So that's how we came up with the name. I know it sounds like Asian or something like that, but it's just family. It also means the term means bigger than big as well. We didn't know that. And also it means, I think in Chinese, there's something similar that also means very big or very, very large, something like that. Do terms automatically revert back to original loan terms after a specific time? Yes. So if you notice, I put in that term, I said, when I was talking to him, I said, let's lower the payment for 3 months. It's automatically going to lower it just for the 3 months, the payments, and then it'll bring it right back up to the original minimum monthly payment. So yeah, you don't even have to worry about it. It just automatically does it. So the next time you're submitting. Now, another question that people ask is, why can I not just set it to auto withdrawal? You know what I mean? I just want it to auto withdraw. I don't want to go in once a month and click 2 buttons. The reason why is because of the social side. You want to make sure that you have that power and that the system isn't doing it for you. If you have a client, I'll give you an example of scenarios that could happen. Let's say that you're doing half down, half on completion, and there's 2 of you. Okay, there's 2 of you in your business, your husband-wife team. We're going to say husband and wife team. And what happens is the husband gets the check in the mail or something like that, or the wife gets the check in the mail and she deposits it. And then the system automatically auto withdraws it 7 days later because it hasn't been entered. Now you've taken 2 payments out from their bank account, and that's going to piss them off and you're going to lose them as a customer. We don't want that to happen. Now, just so that you know, one of the upgrades that we will be working on in the near future as we progress is a toggle that'll make it so that you can do that. You'll toggle whoever you want the auto withdrawal to just happen, and the rest it won't, you'll go in for. So that will be coming in the future. Would this work for a monthly subscription payment? I'm one of these types that I would love to figure out a way to be able to do it for any of those, but okay, I'll just tell you. So how Woje is set up is the subscription covers the central exchange. Whenever you do electronic transfer, whether it's credit card or bank to bank or anything like that, even Venmo, there is a fee, and the central exchange makes a percentage of that. With using merchant services, there's 3 people getting paid. You've got the merchant processor that's saying, hey, I'm going to give you the access to all these different networks. So I'm going to charge you a percentage. Then you have the credit card network that says, I'm going to charge you a percentage if you use our network. So Visa, might be, 2% of the 2.5 that you're paying, or, 2.75 of the 3 or whatever. Then you have the central exchange. The central exchange is like the patent holder. They make a percentage of every electronic fund transfer. So even with Venmo, they are being charged. They weren't charging people, but if you notice now, they're trying to get those fees. They wanted to build the network of people used to using it, and now they're trying to figure out ways to be able to make a profit. And one of the ways that they did before that actually they had to ban really quick was they sent out an email saying, anybody that we assume is a business, we are going to charge you. And legally they couldn't do that. So they had to change that really quick. Now they're doing it to where it's like, hey, as a customer, rat out that business so that we can charge it. So they're trying to collect those fees. How Woje is set up is there's a minimum monthly subscription, and that subscription is tiered. It grows as the number of live contracts you do. And that is to cover the central exchange. So we don't really make a profit on the subscription. It's just to take care of those fees. So with that covers that. So where does Woje make their profit? They make their profit on a percentage of the interest and fees that you charge. So we don't make it on the sale. So for example, if you sell something for 5,000, you're making 5,000. On the interest side of it, if you make $100 in interest, we make $22.83 in interest. So now we get to the subject of subscriptions. The subscriptions, if you charge 0 interest, we don't make any money. But you could set up a contract for like 3 years, 0 interest, don't charge any interest, but at least charge a service fee. So we're making like little pennies. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, you can skirt the system by doing that process. If too many people skirt it, we're going to have to figure out something along that lines. But yeah, because it costs a lot for the servers and the security behind what we've connected. But yes, you could do something like that. Okay, so if we have 100 live contracts, can we add subscriptions? Okay, so what happens with the subscription is it automatically tiers as you reach the next point. So right now, with the majority of coupons, as soon as you put on your first contract, it's $19 a month. But $19 gives you up to 20 contracts, 20 live contracts. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you say, I don't want to finance anybody. I'm just going to do half down, half on completion. And you put 1,000 contracts in there. You're not going to go to the $19 a month. The reason why is because none of them are live. As soon as one of them does not pay and you have to convert it to financing, or you need to collect that payment, then it becomes a live contract. Then your subscription level is decided on those contracts. So let's say that you put a contract in that you're going to finance someone and they walk in and they pay it off and it never goes through the system. You don't get charged on that contract. The other thing too, you got to think of, the term sheet that we're giving you is worth thousands of dollars. We're giving that to you because we want you to be successful in this. So that's why I think the subscriptions, the starting subscription, depending on the coupon, is a very, very small amount. It's single digit. So we're trying to make this as low cost as possible to make it so that you can make the maximum amount of profit. And we're just trying to, at the start, cover that base fee. What about using this for payroll? I'm not sure how that would work. I would have to discuss that more with you. Are you who put in that question? Who put in the payroll question? Penny? Let me see. I'm going to allow you to talk. So give me an example of what you're thinking.
Oh, just like with the employees that we will be hiring, full-time employees or part-time employees. Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering if we could set up as being a bank, being able to pay them through this system instead of paying them through like a separate payroll company. Okay.
So let me tell you one of the things that's really cool you're stepping in an area that is really cool, because it allows greater financing and it makes you keep your customers. And we've taught this to a few businesses. Regular payroll is just regular payroll. It comes in month after month. There's an HVAC company that is doing this process. And what it was their profit margin was low, labor was high. And so they were trying to figure out a way that they could finance. What I suggested to them is make their employees part of the finance. So what they did is this: they have a salesman and they have an installer, and they're working with just those two of all of them. And they said, okay, you two are going to work together to create financing. And what happened is the salesman would go out. And I remember one of the jobs that they did, it would have been like an $1,800 job. They wanted to redo a bunch of stuff, and they realized that they could upsell to, I think it was like $5,000 or $6,000, the majority of it being labor. So what they did is they brought that cell and said, we think we can finance it. They brought it back to the owners and said, okay, how do we work it out? Well, the material cost was X amount. So they said, we need that down. We're going to set up contracts with you and the commission amount with the salesman and the installer. And during that time, he's going to do it. And we're going to set him up on contract. So now the business was paying him monthly with interest. Does that make sense? The business was paying him monthly with interest. So they were making interest on that sell along with the business. And they set it up at like 9.7%. So each one of them was getting 9.7% on their portion of it. And they were able to get this larger sell because of it. And that's kind of how they did it. So payroll, regular payroll, where you're doing taxes and everything else, you're going to need to do it through a different service. If you want to do something like that, I'd love to teach you how.
Okay,
It's really
that's
cool.
like a commissions-based type of thing.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
but it doesn't have to be commission. Remember that they were both employees. They were both employees, but they're like, hey, we would rather earn interest on our commission and our work than get paid an hourly rate. So when they went to do the job, they clocked out because it was going to be on contract.
Okay.
They already had the budget. They knew the budget amount. And so it was like, just, as soon as the job was done, the contracts were set. Now the employee has auto withdrawal, monthly payment going out of the business. These two people were at the same time, the business was getting this larger payment coming in from the total sell price.
Okay. Well, good thing to explore when we get to that point.
Yes.
Thank you, Scott.
Okay. Any other questions? We good? Well, awesome. Thank you so much. This has been amazing. If someone invited you, get back with them. They will have coupon code that will give you a discount. If they don't, call me. I'll put my number in. If they didn't, here we go. Just don't call me all the time, okay? But here's my phone number, so you can call and ask questions later. And I'd love to help you out however I can to help you move forward on it. But please, please, please understand that our ultimate goal is for all of you to be able to capture all this money yourself. This is the big reason why. Millions of dollars leaves the state per day. We create it, and businesses outside of Utah are getting it. It's leaving the state. You guys capturing this money means that it churns here longer, and which means the economy stays strong. If the majority of small businesses was doing this process, Utah itself would be, millions of more dollars would be staying in the state. So it would be super amazing. So thank you so much. Appreciate everybody, and have a good night.